I was on the BSc with honours occupational therapy degree course, Bradford. I graduated in June 2009, applied for a couple of jobs, and I'm now the respiratory occupational therapist at Bradford Royal Infirmary. I think the thing with Bradford was that because of the Y-Coat system that's set up, the group of colleges tend to tailor their course to whatever demands might be in that geographical area. So the Bradford course, we felt as students anyway, was predominantly mental health, although obviously occupational therapy covers a really broad spectrum, and so we did get a taster of everything, but the mental health side of things we felt was more emphasised than anything else. And that was enjoyable because it was imaginative, it's creative, it's challenging, it's a little bit scary, all of these things and more, but it was there was definitely a slant towards mental health. Practice placements were essential, really, and they were the first toe in the water, if you like. Your first practice placement gave you that indicator as to whether you were actually in the right course. Was this the career for you? And it gave you that first example or first taster of working with the public who you were ultimately wanting to serve. So it were the practice placements were essential, and more so towards the end of the 3 years. The final placement was a 10 weeks emerging role, which was in some areas controversial because it's not everyone's cup of tea, but for us and for myself in particular, I found it really beneficial before going out to work. The early part of the course had a lot of emphasis on reflection and personal reflection, looking into or asking you to examine your cultural background, your personal identity, what makes you you, what's important to you, and I think that really helps everyone. This is my first job and it's a rotational post, so I change jobs every 6 months. There are 9 rotations available, and I chose respiratory because I identified a gap in my learning. I'd not had a clinical placement and I'd not worked in an acute setting, and I identified through talking to the managers at the NHS and the occupational therapy manager just what the respiratory placement was about, and it seemed to fit in with that gap in my learning. However, what I didn't anticipate is that when I started that role, my Band 6 supervisor was working on 2 sites, so we're only together for 2.5 days a week, and she's predominantly working with oncology and palliative care, which leaves me to cover at the moment 12 wards across the hospital. Sounds daunting, was daunting. 3 months in, I'm still here, I've survived. It's about remembering what you've learned at university.